And the only thing I will say is if you vote yes on this bill and yes on these amendments, I hope the next time there's an invocation, when you bow your heads in prayer, you see the blood on your hands.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Montana State House banning Zoe Zephyr from the House chambers. Yes, Zoe. Okay, it's spelled Z-O-O-E-Y. How do you pronounce that if not Zoe? I don't know, but I digress. Now, the reason why it's news is because Zoe is transgender. Of course, right? I don't think Zoe's parents said, hey, you know what? Let's name our bundle of joy Zoe. That'll make a lot of sense. Okay, you have a biological XY male who now identifies as female. Now, of course, this is going to cause a lot of reaction from all over the political world, right? We get to this particular piece right here, the protest in a moment. But of course, you have AOC giving her 2 cents. She said January 6th was a dress rehearsal. First, they tried to block the president from taking office. Now it's a Tennessee 3 and Representative Zoe Zephyr in Montana. They will not win. This is the latest gasp of a movement that is dying. You know, MAGA Republicans, you know how they talk. This is what fascism does when it is on its hind heels. All right. So that's her. I'll link to this video in the description. Here you have JeanPierre talking about it's devastating and undemocratic for the Montana House to pass a bill banning the mutilation of children, which is puberty blockers. And that's the whole reason why Zoe Zephyr was barred from the House, because of her comments about blood on their hands was in reference to blocking puberty blockers. So if the Montana House Republicans say, you know what, let's not mutilate our children in this state by giving them puberty blockers, that somehow cause for a protest and cause to kind of issue the veiled threat. But I digress. Okay, so again, she's talking about Zoe Zephyr, AOC talking about Zoe Zephyr. They're talking about the same person on The View. They're talking about Zoe Zephyr everywhere. But first, before we get to a little bit of a breakdown about this person's background, let's take a look at what was happening. Okay, I'm going to turn this music off. With Democratic lawmaker Zoe Zephyr, et cetera, this was going on. All right. You got a lot of police. You got protests. Let her speak. Let's turn it on for a minute. Okay. So a lot of protests and whatnot. This is kind of reminding me. Look at this. You get the black fist up. I'm old enough to remember the black fist was like Black Panthers and all this and that. Now you have LGBT and everybody else who have co-opted the black fist. I don't even know what this means anymore. What does that mean? Does this mean, hey, give children puberty blockers? I don't know, but I digress. So you have the protest going on. You have this person holding the microphone up. It says Zephyr defiantly held up a non-functioning microphone as, quote unquote, her supporters were moved from the House floor gallery. And you know, one thing about these people, these especially male to female transgenders, which is the majority of them, why is it that I always see the male to female transgenders and never the other way around? Because the other way around exists as well. I've met a person that was female to male transgender. Okay. An obvious woman. Okay. The person was about 5'1", petite. Okay. Fun size. Right. But had a beard. It's like, what are we doing? Anyway, why don't I ever see the other way around? Why is it always the male to female? Is there a particular reason why that is? I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to add 2 and 2 and get 4. So here's some more of the protests. Okay, they're acting the fool.
Will likely not be able to speak for the remainder of the session, which could be 2 more weeks, is unconscionable. I cannot abide by this. I elected her so she could come to Helena to speak for me, and now we are here to speak for her since she has been silenced.
This is Montana. Okay, Montana obviously is not a Democratic state. It's not a blue state. It's a red state by far. But people like that exist in Montana now. What you don't want to have happen is you don't want Montana to be overrun by these people. You want to be able to have some spaces in America that are not dominated by this kind of stuff.
Speak on behalf of my community.
Now, okay, there's more here. I'll link to it in the box. But let's get to a little bit of information about this person, Zoe Zephyr. Okay, shout out to Clown World for pointing me to this particular thread or for boosting it so I can see it. And this person, Jeremy Carl, has written a multi-thread tweet If I don't get through the full thing, I'll link to it in the box. But the first thing, transgender identifying Montana House member Zoe Zephyr became a media celebrity when he accused the Montana GOP of having blood on their hands after passing a bill to block genital and hormonal mutilation of children. But who is Zoe Zephyr? Let's discuss. And before any big brain genius wants to accuse me of misgendering, I'm not doing anything. I'm just reading words on the screen. I don't know nothing, okay? And I don't even know if this person wrote this. I'm just reading words on the screen. Anybody could have wrote this. So you can't try to flag me for reading, okay? Flagging me for reading is not a thing, okay? Don't do that. So this is Zoe Zephyr now on the left, and this was Zoe Zephyr previously. I don't know what the person's birth name is, but this is their more masculine looking face, right? Well, both are kind of masculine looking, but you understand what I'm saying. One, there's a sort of an attempt there to have the longer hair. Really, all I see is longer hair and the same face. But anyway, so Zephyr's original speech, clearly totally out of bounds for legislative debate, first brought him to major national attention after an initial burst of interest when he was elected in 2002. Okay, so that's the thing right there that we saw earlier. Again, I'll link to that in the description. Yesterday, the Montana House expelled him from the floor for the rest of the legislative session. Representative Zephyr claims that when he came out as transgender, his mother told him that he always wanted to be a martyr. Now he's getting his wish. But who really is Zoe Zephyr? Both Montana and national media seem incurious. An exhaustive internet search reveals a disquieting story, one that shows a disturbed young man with a troubled past and a series of toxic relationships. Okay, we going down school shooter territory, apparently. Born in Billings, Montana as Zachary Rosk. That makes more sense, okay? When your parents are getting ready to name you, they're like, you know what? Let's name our little bundle of joy, our beautiful boy, let's name him Zachary. Like my parents, it was like, let's name our beautiful boy Anthony. That's what we're going to do. No parent that is not on hard drugs or is Elon Musk is going to name their child Zoe. But I digress. So he was a champion high school wrestler. Zoe Zephyr, currently in the state and national headlines, did not even exist until 2019, when after several months of taking female hormones, Rosk publicly transitioned. He had surgical vaginoplasty in 2002, and indeed he was not in Missoula on election night when he was elected to the Montana House, but flying to New York for post-op care of the wound. Okie dokie, you get the gist of that, right? He had the twig and berries removed. According to Rosk, his parents disowned him when he decided to transition. Rosk was originally motivated to run for the state legislature in response to the attempt to ban trans girls from girls and women's sports. Interesting. So you get motivated by social media and stuff like that. Disturbingly, he is extremely interested in transhumanism, the melding of man and machine through technological enhancement of the human body. The subject of an abandoned master's thesis at the University of Montana. Perhaps this explains his desire to modify his body. It makes sense. Previously, he was a major player in the online Super Smash Brothers online gaming community. Wow, he was playing Smash for real. That's crazy. That is crazy. If you want to watch that, I'll link to it. The community was hit by a scandal in 2020 involving major players in the sexual abuse of minors. I remember that. I do remember that. Yep. Rosk has expressed the regret that through taking minors to tournaments, he may have exposed them to harm. Was Rosk Zephyr an abuser or a victim? He is also a fan of manga and anime. Rosk has posted disturbing sexualized anime images in his Twitter. He shows all the classic sign of autogenephilic, a man who often spurred by pornography or fetish, becomes sexually aroused by the idea of themselves as a woman. I've heard this quite a bit about guys that are really into anime, you know, like really deep into it. Yeah, I've heard this a lot. Now, just because you watch anime, I'm not trying to say this is going to be you. I watch anime occasionally, but I'm not a weeb or anything crazy like that. I'm definitely not like this guy right here, you know, and I'm seeing this quite a bit. I think this might be a reason why there's so many male to female trans is because they get caught up in the pornography. Their mind just, it takes them away, and then they wind up wanting to become a woman themselves. Okay. And I see that pattern happening, and it's happened quite a bit, actually. We're not going to show all of that. Rosk is also dating Anthony. Why'd you have me name Anthony, right? he's dating Anthony Aaron Reed, one of the most prominent national transgender activists. Reed has a disturbing background himself, and one again that has been almost completely ignored by the national media, in which he has frequently appeared. So I guess that's Anthony right there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to put a pause on it right there. There's probably more to that thread, but you're seeing quite a bit of issues right here. You got a young man who now identifies as a woman who has a troubled past and maybe even a troubled present right now. There's some political stuff going on. You're spurred on by what you see on social media, really, probably seeing it on TikTok, seeing some protests or whatnot going on. You want to be involved. You know what? I'm gonna put a button on it right here, wrap it on up, put the bow on top. As a close, I want to say this. I think that there are a lot of young men who are searching for community, a sense of purpose, and they get caught up in stuff like this. Add on to that some of the pornography and some of the things that kind of damage their mind, sometimes medication. You got a toxic mix that has them putting on and dressing high heels and cutting their stuff off. I think that is kind of what's going on. I'm not against anybody that's LGBT, whatever, but I think there's a difference between being gay and a person who has serious mental problems that could result in self-harm or the harm of others. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the Montana State House banning Zoe Zephyr from the chambers? Now, to be clear, Zoe is still allowed to participate and vote, just not in the actual chamber for the remainder of the session. But whatever your thoughts are on that, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think this person is what I said, somebody lost, looking for a sense of purpose, and now it could kind of become dangerous. Keep an eye on this guy because I don't know where this whole thing is going to end up. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.